Hey everyone, how y'all doing? My name is Mateo and I am from Maschine Masters. This is going to be a two-part tutorial on bass presence and the tools you can use to get bass in your mix to translate better on more speakers overall, including those small speakers. In this first tutorial, I demonstrate how to increase perceived loudness of bass using a very convenient tool, which is part of many well-known engineers' mixing toolkits, called R-Bass, or also known as Renaissance Bass from Waves. In the second tutorial, I will demonstrate how to achieve a similar effect, but with a series of plugins that come with most DAWs or free for those of you that don't have access to R-Bass. First, let me just articulate the frustration that many of you have out there to get your bass to cut through in a mix and to have it translate well on small systems like, say, portable iPhone speaker docks and things like that. This is a big struggle for a lot of people. Waves developed a plugin years ago that made this a lot easier to do without having to use a ton of different plugins to achieve this. So I'm going to pull up an instance of R-Bass and we're going to take a look at it, and I'm going to break down all the different parameters of it. So this right here is R-Bass, also known as Renaissance Bass. Now, if we start off from the left-hand side and move to the right, over here we have the original bass level meter. So this is the level of the original bass signal without the processing. Just above it, you have a yellow button that says in. Now, once you've processed your bass, you can actually choose to leave the original bass sound in or remove it. So above the meters, we have something that says frequency. Now, this slider is used to tell the plugin what bass frequencies you want to affect. So anything below the frequency you select, this plugin is going to use those frequencies and add harmonics to that. Now over here we have the intensity slider. This allows you to increase or decrease the harmonics of the fundamental frequencies that you've chosen to stimulate. In the middle over here, we have another meter and it says harmonics below. This is telling you the level of the harmonics that you are stimulating with R-Bass. To the right of that, we have another slider that says gain. The gain allows you to adjust the output of R-Bass. Now, this is going to be important because whenever you start increasing the intensity of R-Bass, it is going to increase the loudness of the bass. So usually to get a more objective sense of what the plugin is doing, it's good to adjust this gain meter while bypassing the plugin and bringing it back in to kind of make sure that the levels are equal and really hearing what the plugin is doing, as opposed to being influenced by loudness. And then right here is the output meter. So this is just giving you in decibels what the output of the levels are. All right, so let's take a listen to this track and let's hear what's going on without R-Bass engaged. So I'm going to bypass it and we're going to listen to the selection that I've made of the bass. Cool. So the bass sounds pretty good. I feel like it could have a little more low-end presence in there. So this is what we're going to do with our bass. We're going to target some of those bass frequencies and intensify them by increasing the harmonics or overtones of the bass. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to increase the intensity of our bass and hear what it does to the bass. So obviously that's increasing the perceived loudness of the bass, but it's also raising the level of the actual bass quite a bit, and I can tell by the RMS meter over here. Now, we'll adjust that in a bit, but I also want to adjust the crossover slider for the frequency over here to capture more of the low end frequencies. So I'm going to bring this up a little higher and hear how that affects the bass. Okay, cool. I kind of like it around 110 hertz. So that means that our bass is going to focus on the frequencies below 110 hertz. Now what I'm going to do is play with the intensity a bit more and adjust the output gain to kind of balance the level. Now that I've got the levels pretty close to what it is with and without the plugin, we can better judge what the plugin is actually doing. So when I hear what it's doing, I can hear that the bass sounds fuller. And without the plugin, the bass sounds a little flabbier, a little more trebly, you know? I'll solo the bass and we can hear what our bass is doing. Cool. So it really brings out those lower frequencies. Now, to not get too heavy into the science of this, what our bass does is by increasing the harmonics or the overtones of the fundamental frequencies in the bass, your ears actually recreate the fundamental frequencies if it's not able to be produced through the speakers. And this is something referred to as psychoacoustics. This might be quite a bit of jargon for a lot of you, so I won't get too much into it, but I highly recommend all of you checking out what psychoacoustics is. It's very cool. So, anyways, that is how Renaissance bass actually makes you perceive those lower frequencies even through smaller speakers. And it's because your brain is kind of filling in the gaps by its interpretation of the harmonics. Now, just to kind of level this bass out a little bit more, there's a bit of oscillation in it. So I'm just going to add a limiter to it, just to control the level a little bit more. That's just a preference. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is show you exactly visually what the R bass is doing. So I've pulled up my frequency analyzer and I'm going to solo the bass. I'm going to hit play. So I'm actually going to zoom in to a specific range over here. So I'm going to go, let's see, like something like this up until about, let's look between 200 hertz and 10K. I'm going to hit play again with R bass out, and then I'm going to bring R bass back in halfway through, and you're going to see the extension of the frequencies a little bit better. So you could see that without our bass, the bass was only reaching to about around 5K, a little bit lower. Whereas when you engaged our bass, it was reaching significantly higher, closer to about, I don't know, 7 or 8K, maybe 9K. So it really does enhance those harmonics. And it does it in such a simplistic way, which is really nice because it makes my job a lot easier. Now, the last thing I want to say before I end this tutorial is a warning. Now, it is really easy to overdo it with this plugin. You can already hear a little bit of distortion from what I've already done. So it's really easy to overdo it and distort your bass, and it can get pretty ugly. Now, I don't mind a little bit of distortion in my bass, but it all depends on the context of the rest of the mix, whether having a little bit of distortion on your bass does the mix justice or not. So keep that in mind when you're using our bass if you do decide to try it out. Thanks again to all of you that checked out this tutorial. We really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions about what we covered in this tutorial, please feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Also, if you have any suggestions for future tutorials, also leave that in the comment section below. As always, please like and share this video and subscribe to Maschine Masters to keep up with all our latest tutorials. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.